to welcome Dr. Wendy Tan just before she starts to really say, how did we get her here? I was very privileged to be in Portugal a few weeks ago, and there I was attending a workshop and a summit, a women's summit, and Dr. Wendy Tan was one of the presenters. She is also the author of a new book, and she is presenting on a topic that is absolutely relevant to all of us. And what I loved about Wendy's presentation is that it is simple, it is clear, it is implementable. So all of you online, I hope that you've got some pen and paper. You also might get a prize. Maybe Youth at Work can sponsor a couple of books and get them to you. So if you participate and you have got interesting questions and you would be interested in her book, we can put that up as a prize for the session. And we are just absolutely thrilled that even though you're across the world and the other part of the other continents, you've taken the time to be with us today, Wendy. So we very, very much appreciate your insights and your time, and we're very excited to have you on board with us. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Erica. I really admire the good work that you and your team are doing, and I'm very happy to be here. And this is the first time I'm in a webinar where there are like 700 odd people and the numbers are still climbing. This is just phenomenal, and to have so many people interested in learning. I have a request towards the end of the presentation before we drop off. I would just have loved to have everybody, if you can turn on your camera, and I would love to see you and take a picture with you, to have so many people online at the same time. Would that be okay, Erica?
Absolutely. And we can maybe give you a warm welcome. We know how to do that. If everybody unmutes, because it's easier for Wendy to hear us than to see us all. But if you unmute and just say, welcome, Wendy, in any language that you want. And we'll take a minute. Everybody unmute. And let's give Wendy a big welcome.
Welcome.
Wendy.
Ni hao ma, ni hao ma.
Wendy.
La raza, man.
Welcome, Wendy.
Thank you. Okay, Janelle, and just to say, Wendy, we've got people from all over the country online. You can see the numbers are close to 800 now. I just want to point out it is 800 devices, not people. There are far more people. There are some people checking in together. So thank you very much. But we can do that again at the end of the session where we put all the cameras on, and we do that again. But a very warm welcome from all of us. Right, yes. Over to you, Wendy.
You're muted. Can you unmute, Wendy? Sorry.
Okay, I've unmuted myself. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Right. Going to share screen in a moment and share with you on this topic. So many of you have already shared on the poll, and let's just have a quick look, right? So we see over here. Yes, very good. So about half of you use AI every day. Wow, that's a huge number. And about a quarter, a few times a week. All right. So 75% use AI quite often. And I think, yep, to find information, okay, that's a basic use of AI to brainstorm on questions for job applications, about half of you. For schoolwork. All right. So I am speaking to a group of users who are quite sophisticated in your use of AI. So I think this is awesome. So I want to share with you how this work came about, right? So as Erica said, I published my book on the 3rd of June, so nearly a month now, and And this is how it all came about. My two teenage kids were coming down a mountain in Indonesia, and we were all tired, covered in mud. And I tried to cheer them up, and I said, let's write a poem. Right? So my son went quiet for a moment, and he started to read this poem. On Sunbing's slopes, I stand and stare. A challenge waits beyond compare. The mountains call, I must obey and start the climb, come what may. When I heard this poem, I thought, oh, wow, it's perfect. It's polished. I have a poet at home whom I never knew. And then he shrugged his shoulders and laughed, said, Chat GPT. So for its perfection and polish, not a word is from him. It's also soulless, right? And this is my daughter's poem. She says, the cool air from the plain reminding me of the clouds we walked through on the mountains. The little white roof from the base camp reminding me of the tedious distance we have to walk. So, you know, in Singapore, in Asia, in the Chinese culture, we have this term called tiger mom, right? The mothers who expect perfection from their kids. And so when I read this, I was thinking, oh my God, all the spelling, grammatical, and punctuation mistakes. Yeah, but yet at the same time, I could feel the cool air. I could feel the distance. I could see Sophie's voice in it, right? So despite its messiness, it is also authentic and alive. It's a human who wrote the time. Yeah. Yeah, and so you know it troubled me because my son spent 1% effort to create 100% output and 0% of which was from him, right? And you know we have been thinking to come up with answers, but in today's times when AI can come up with answers easily, quickly, fluently, then what is our thinking for? Right, so it troubled me. What's our human thinking for? What really is our edge? Yeah, so it led me to wonder. So over here, I see that for many of you, yeah, when I ask this question, what do you think about AI in your future? How do you feel? So the bigger the words are, the more frequently it's been said, right? So many said great, excited, empowered, curious, informative, helping me to advance, fine, optimistic. Wow, these are all very positive, very optimistic responses, which is awesome. Yeah, and then there are a few that says like mixed emotions, confusing, right? Confused, unpredictable, game changer, right? Yeah, so I think there are more positive responses than negative ones, right? And when we ask the next question, what is the biggest worry you have about using AI? So the highest percentage is the worry is that I will depend on it and stop thinking for myself. So Erica, we are doing this correct. This is the data shows this, right? That we will depend. Yeah, that's the biggest worry. For some of you who came in a little bit later, there is a link. Dino, if you can help me to copy the link onto the chat again, so that people who came in late can also respond onto this poll, that would be very helpful. Yeah, so indeed, this is the worry, right? That yeah, my son could only like just put in one single prompt and then the whole output came out. He was totally just relying on it, right? Yeah, and I think the second worry is about I can't always tell when it's wrong. So this is the fear around hallucination, right? Whether we have the knowledge, the expertise to pick out when it's wrong. And in some ways, it is quite understandable because when we are younger, we need time to build our expertise. So in today's session, I want to share how you can use AI tools to build your expertise, right? And 15% thinks that it will take my job before I even get one. Yeah, so you know the finding is actually it's not the AI taking our job. It's more like somebody else who knows how to use AI will take the job from us. So that's why we want to be able to use AI and to be able to use it well, right? Yeah. So then to consider what really is our edge, right? So I want to share with you how can we keep our edge and continue to develop our edge. But before we go there, I just want to share with you, uh, the research I did was to interview expert AI users, people who understand the strengths and the limitations of AI. And from there, I pulled out the thinking process. Um, how do they think when they use AI tools so that they are not outsourcing? And we then, with this thinking framework, we tested it with real working professionals, people who have PhDs in various research areas, all the way to working professionals, finance people, engineers, even IT. And we analyze all these chat histories to pull out the themes, right? And here is what we find. Some data points here that a Lancet study showed that doctors lost 20% of their diagnostic accuracy within months of using AI tools. These are experts over years, decades of experience, losing their skills in just months, right? Imagine us losing our skills, right? And whether AI is helping us to build our skills in the first place. And MIT study showed that the people who use AI had the lowest brain engagement, and there's some studies that shows that where with AI outputs, we can even barely remember what has been produced, right? So with the lowest brain engagement, how does that help us? Which means, are we working hard enough, productively to understand the topic? Yes. Okay. And finally, in the research, people tell me that they're losing patience because AI outputs come out very fast, right? And we're always moving, churning out all these outputs. And the worst is when people say, I've lost confidence because AI comes up with all these, and I don't know how I can fight with AI, how I can compete with AI, or how I can be better, right? So in Singapore, some bosses ask their people, have you run this output through AI before showing it to me? As if AI is the final judge of their work instead of them staying as the final judge. So in this, what is that each time we outsource our work to AI, our own capability weakens. And this is an alarm bell that is ringing because, perhaps it is not AI that makes us irrelevant. Through the ways that we use AI, we could be making ourselves irrelevant, right? If we use AI in ways that we just simply outsource, or we don't think before we accept the outputs, or we just jump straight to AI before we exercise our own thinking, right? So through these ways, we could be making ourselves irrelevant. So this, of course, is a crisis in our identity, right? Because what makes us human is our thinking capabilities. In the industrial age, we can outsource the physical labor. We have machines to work in the fields. We have machines in factories to do the physical work, right? And so, but do we want to outsource our thinking to machines? Yeah, and what will become of us? Yeah, so that is a question. So I went thinking for some answers, right? So before I share with you the findings, I like you to some of you have already put in your responses. Feel free to scan on the QR code over here to participate in this poll, right? Of all of these, okay, so this is the one. Yes. So being honest, when AI gives you an answer, what do you usually do? right? So 5% says copy it and move on, which is not a high number, right? But also kudos to the 5% who are very honest. 40% say you tweak it a little and then just use it. And about half of you say you ask follow-on questions to understand it. Only 5% says that you will push back and make yourself and the AI think harder. So this is interesting, right? Because the top two rows, if you were to copy and move on or tweak a little, then move on, then chances are we're probably over relying on AI, right? And not using it enough as a thinking partner. Yeah, Daniel, do you have your hand raised? Yeah, if anybody has a question, just feel free to raise your hand and you can unmute and share your question. Or Daniel, if you could monitor the chat and ask any questions down later towards the end of the presentation, that would be really helpful too. Okay, and so about 50% of you are using it in ways that put you on the driver's seat. This is interesting because in my research, I found two groups of people. They could be doing the same task and using the same tools, but with very different outcomes. So one group drifts into dependency. So they are the group that says just one prompt, and 28 pages of outputs. Yeah, and when we're building our expertise, one prompt, 28 pages of outputs that are so fluent, that comes out looking very polished, and we can't really tell whether they are good or not, right? Which is what some of you have mentioned. You're not sure whether it is right or not. Yeah, and therefore, when we are not able to defend it, we're not able to explain it, we continue to prompt, we continue to, put in another prompt, another 28 pages of outputs come out. Or there are times where we have the A, right? When with the outputs, the chat GPT will ask, should I do A or B, right? Or C? And then we'll just choose A, right? And then the output comes out again, and should I do C, D, E? The AI tool will ask. And then we say, okay, let's do E. Yeah, and before we know it, we drift into this dependency. Our thinking becomes led by AI instead of us leading AI, right? So that's the drifting group, which is what we find over here. Probably the first two groups would be in the drifting group. And all right, okay. And the other group is staying in the driver's seat. So when you stay in the driver's seat, this group knows what they want, how the output that they want, why are they using AI tools, what's the process of using these AI tools. And in doing so, they are the ones leading AI. And when the output comes out, they are much more confident. Okay, so I just realized maybe let me share some of these outputs from the Mentimeter, right? Because I think you have not seen the Mentimeter outputs yet. Yeah, so this is what I was just sharing, right? That many of you use AI tools, and then you use AI tools to find information. So what I hope that you can do at the end of today is to use AI to, beyond finding information, to do more complex work, right? To for assignments, right? For job interviews, to brainstorm on issues, or to even learn new topics, right? So to go beyond just using AI as a glorified Google search. Okay, and this is the other output that we see about how you are feeling about all these AI tools. Yeah, I see that some of you are scanning because the responses keep coming in, which is great. Yeah, and some of the biggest worries that you talked about half of you feeling that you might be depending on it and stop thinking for yourself, right? So these are the data points that we are more that is more telling. Yeah, and with these worries, where are you now, right? Which more than half of you are actively looking for solutions, which is great, that's why you are here, right? And 23% say that you don't know what to do, you're feeling a little bit lost. So hopefully today's session will give you some direction. Yeah, and 20% says I know what to do. Yeah, which is also good. Nobody says I don't care anymore. That's awesome. Can you all give yourself a round of applause for this? Yeah, the fact that you show up means that you care about this issue. You care about your own learning and your own capabilities. Yeah, this is awesome. Yeah, and this is the percentage that says the top two groups that may tend to be drifting, because you don't push it as hard or use AI as a thinking partner. Okay, all right. So I'm going to pause here for a moment. All right, and go back to the slides. Okay, because what we see in these two groups, the question is, how do we stay in the driver's seat, right? Because we all know that this is, and I want to share the research findings on how we can stay on the driver's seat in these two real people, right? Maya is the driver. She knows what she's using AI for, and what is the process, and how she can analyze. And then Turbo tends to be, drifting a bit. So as we found out, a key finding from this research, right, is that actually the prompts or prompt engineering prompts is not the edge. What's the edge is what happens before the prompt, right? So think first and then prompt second. So this is the good news about this, right, is that thinking is not a talent that you are just born with, right? But it is something we can describe, we can articulate, and therefore we can practice it and we can learn it. Yeah, and because the old edge was thinking to find answers, but now AI can give us the answers, right? So what is the new edge, right? So the new edge is the thinking that we bring to the machine, our own thinking that we bring as we use these AI tools. So exactly what does that look like? So this is a summary, right? There are 5 thinking shifts, right? I call this the brain thinking framework. I want to give you an overview of these 5 shifts through the lens of Maya and Turbo, right? So for example, when Turbo, when he wants to use AI tools, right, he will open up his chat GPT, he will say, write me my resume, right? And then out comes a very sleek, a very polished looking resume, right? But it is also very generic, right? Something that all other large language models create, because it is just the average of all the data out there, right? So instead, Maya then thinks, okay, I want to write the CV. And what is her end objective? Her end objective is to stand out, right? And who is the employer, right? This is a consumer product company, right? And she thinks about her strength. How is her strength relevant? So marketing, right? Marketing is her strength, right? And so she pauses for a little bit and she thinks, what does this employer actually need, right? What is my real strength? Say I am good in organizing events. I am good in doing in some of this social media, right? So she brings all that into AI and asks AI, help me show this company what my strengths can bring to the customers, and here is what I've actually done. So both of them are using the same tools, right? So what Turbo got was a very generic answer, because he just said, write me a CV. Whereas what Maya got was a lot sharper, a lot more specific to her, right? And so what Maya did was to bring her own thinking to the tool, right? She even asked the tool, with regards to me applying to this job, what might be my blind spot? What might be something important to this employer that I may not know about, right? So that is her big picture thinking, which is also strategic thinking. And then the second step in this is to route the process. So most people treat AI like a vending machine, vending machine where you pop the coin in and then out comes the candy, right? So like a vending machine, you drop the prompt in and then just take whatever that comes out. So that is what Turbo did, right? To just put in the one prompt and then the output comes out. So what Maya does is something different. She works with the AI tool like as if she is stacking up the bricks. She will, she thinks through the different steps involved, right? Because her end objective is to get the job, right? And she prepares for the interviews, right? So she says like, first be my interviewer. So pretend to ask me questions. Ask me 5 questions for this role. So that is step 1, right? Step 1, ask me 5 questions. Step 2, score my answer based on what will be important to this an employer in this industry, right? Then step 3, show me a stronger version. Show me what would be better, right? And show me my blind spots. So what she is doing is that she breaks it down into steps. And she says, wait for my approval at each step. So in working with AI, we build the structure. Yeah. So for example, if you want to come up with a sales proposal for your boss, or you want to, even if you are starting up something and you're thinking about this business idea, right? So you want to also work with AI in steps. So for example, step number 1 is identify the market, identify the potential customer. Then step number 2, identify the strengths and the weaknesses of this product or this service, right? Step number 3 will be then assess the fit of between the market needs and this product. Then the step 4 might be looking at how can I improve this product, this service. Then finally, step number 5, write me a report or write me the PowerPoint deck that I can walk through with my boss, right? So you break down your steps, and in each step, Maya is the one leading the AI tool, because by the end of this process, Maya can very clearly articulate how did I come up with this idea, this recommendation. Whereas Turbo, it just came out so quickly, right? For him, he won't be able to quite articulate the thinking process, because the thinking process was not his. It was just generated by AI. Whereas Maya can lead AI at every step, put in her thoughts in every step, and be able to explain it. Yeah, so that's what we want to be able to do. So there's a whole chapter in the book on how we route AI step by step. Okay, and now that you have the output, you also want to analyze the output. So this is what we all know, but we all in the survey it showed that we are concerned whether the outputs are correct or not. And the research backs this, this concern, because actually as younger users, we lean on AI more because we haven't had as many years of experience, right? And actually also because we lean more on AI tools, we also run the risk of losing our critical thinking. So this group is actually at highest risk. So the research shows that when students who didn't understand a topic use AI would tend to be leading them. Whereas if you understand the topic, then you would be the one leading AI. So what Maya does is that she looks at the outputs and she notices that there are a lot of words, but the words don't mean anything much, right? And she realizes that she needs to be the gatekeeper. So she would ask herself these 4 questions. Is it clear? Is the output clear? Is it logical? Is it evidence-based? What are the sources? Where did this information come from? So you verify it, right? And then she checks, right? So she turns AI from a cheat sheet to a teacher instead. And this is why, this is important, because a beginner or a novice, we need to use AI differently, because this is I guess one of the most important thing. And Erica, this is something that I also thought carefully before speaking to this group of youths, right? Because an expert has a library built in their head, built over years, right? And so when experts use AI to do routine work, they can still spot the mistakes because they have gone through the grunt work. They have gone through the entry level. They have written the report from scratch. They have done the analysis from scratch. So when experts use AI, we can pick out the mistakes. So the risk of losing our thinking is a bit lower. But younger people or beginner in a new area don't have that library yet, right? And I must also say, even for older people, if you are working in a new area, we would also be beginner. I am a beginner in learning agentic AI. I don't have that library yet. So when I let AI do the thinking, we're not freeing our mind. We're skipping the steps that builds our thinking. And so if we can't catch these errors, then we have to learn how to manage it better. So there are 3 ways, right? Instead of prompt and go, you want to prompt to grow, right? In prompting to grow, what that means is you want to ask AI, teach me like I'm brand new. Teach me this topic like I'm brand new. Give your draft to AI and say, this is my draft. Where is it weak? How can I improve? Or whatever AI comes out with, or even your own arguments, you can ask AI, give me 3 counter arguments, right? So in this way, we shift and use AI almost like a personal tutor, right? A 24/7 personal tutor. And this is one of the biggest opportunity we have. All right. So this is how we want to use AI differently. Yes. And now with the outputs, we have analyzed the outputs. Okay. And this is we want to be able to iterate it and to make it our own, right? Because with these AI outputs, it is still not our own yet until we add our own voice, our own flavor to it, our own insights to it. Yeah. So this is where, for Turbo, what he does is he just takes the output and then he moves forward with it. And Maya will read this AI output and then she ponders, she thinks, she has a little bit of hunch. She feels like she's not very sure. Is this right? Can I really count on it? Yeah. So instead of ignoring that feeling, she consults her mentors, right? Because as novice, we don't know what we don't know. And what we want to do is to lean on the shoulders of our mentors and to see where are our blind spots. So she takes she takes her resume to her mentors and ask them for feedback, right? And she realizes that, she needs to position herself differently, right? So in this process, she learns something, and she learns when to pause, when to trust herself, to listen to this whisper of intuition, because we humans have the intuition, but AI does not, right? So learning to trust ourselves and our own intuition is a growth process. Yeah. And finally, with this, is to nurture our thinking. So, and this is something that you can do with one another, because when your friend shows you this AI output, right, you can ask questions like, what was your thought process, right? And what is your thinking? And what did you learn from working with AI? Yeah, so when this is happening, this is like when I am thinking and I'm working with AI, and these two are happening at this level, right? And by asking this question, what is your thought process? What are the strengths and the weaknesses or gaps in your thinking? How did your thinking shift? So this is when we are watching the thinking. So we are watching the thinking. So imagine the whole, youth at work network, asking yourself these questions, right? It is not just a group of people using AI tools, it's a whole generation of people thinking with it. Yeah. And when this happens, this is where the gold is, and where we really can use AI as a thinking partner, as a learning tool, because we then pause to watch our own thinking and to watch how are we learning, and how has our thinking shifted. Yeah, so this is what we call meta thinking. Okay, and as we do this, it's also important to know where AI stops, right? And I'm sure you might have heard of stories where people have, just listened to AI and broke off with their boyfriend or their girlfriend, right? And there is some data that shows that some AI tools are optimized to instigate breakup so that people would be lonely and therefore spend more time on AI tools, right? And also, AI tools are built to engage us, to make us feel good. Whatever we say, AI tends to be agreeable. Yeah, and then we become trapped in our own thinking. So it's important to know where AI stops. Yeah, so use AI for tasks to get things done, right? To get ideas. But where it comes to matters of the heart, where it comes to complex issues, this is where humans come in, right? To have mentors who will tell us the truth, who will disagree with us, right? And um, who have a vested interest in our well-being. Yeah. So talking to a real human being rather than, just putting everything through chatbot. Okay. So this is the whole framework, right? So in summary, I've gone through an overview of this. So for all of you here, I have created, I've made on Amazon the book available at 50% discount. So I don't think it's activated yet. So just give it a little bit of time. We can check it later again. So when we are using AI tools, here is what we want everybody to do, right? One, to have to think about the big picture. R is to route the process. A is to analyze the outputs. I is to iterate intuitively. And N is to nurture our thinking. So if you can, I think you're on mute, but if you can say it together with me, right? When we're using AI tools, we want to use our brain. Okay, so that is the acronym to help us to remember. And the book outlines every of this brain step with exercises that you can do if you want to go deeper. Yeah, so I want to bring you back to the mountain, right? Because when we're at the mountain, the question is never whether we are going to use AI tool or not. Of course, we have to use AI tools. The question is whether we are driver or the okay. So there were for Finn's poem, it was perfect and polished, right? But not a single word was from him. Whereas Sophie kept her thinking muscle warm. She was struggling with the issue with the poem. So the difference is not about talent, right? It's more about keeping our thinking muscles warm. So there will be one day when Finn will hit a problem that requires his presence, right? Or will require him to make his real judgment. And during these times, the machine cannot tell him what to do because the machine does not love what he loves, right? Or fears what he fears, or lift the weight of his particular life. Yeah, so this is where Sophie's messiness, us being on the driver's seat, becomes the advantage. Right? So the question to you, which I want to ask you to put in the chat, whether you will be the driver or the drifter. Right? Whether you'll be Maya or Turbo, right? And for Turbo, it's important to know that with the understanding of this like thinking steps and the brain framework as a tool to help, he can also be a driver. So we can be all drivers using these AI tools, right? Yeah, okay. So I like you to think, some of you are already on it. What is one habit that you will start this week? We will look at it during Q&A. What's one habit you will start this week so that you are on the driver's seat when you use AI tools? Okay, so for the first time in history, and I think this is really exciting for young people, a young person in a township will hold the same powerful thinking tool as a CEO in a skyscraper. Yeah, if you know how to wield it, if you know how to use it well. So the world is shifting under all of us, right? Jobs, power, technology. You worry about the future. I worry about my kids' future, right? And that's good because the worry means that we care. So imagine a generation, right? Doesn't just hand over its mind to the machine, but uses the machine to grow its mind, using the machine to learn. So imagine you 6 months from now, you are not the person who is just taking the answer from AI, but you're the one who understands it. You're the one who walked it through your own thinking process. Because you, as the human, as the driver, you focus on what is deep, what is creative, what is meaningful, right? Knowing that we are the creator, we tell the machine what to do. And 50 years ago, as I learned from Erica, young people in your country marched so that you could choose your future. So don't hand the choice over to the machine, right? Instead, you use the machine to do the tedious, the complex, and because it can work on it fast. But we lead it to have co-intelligence so that we humans, together with the machines, can solve the tough problems facing our world today, can create new possibilities, right? And to create new solutions so that the next 50 years in your country creates something more of what you want for your future. Yeah. So tomorrow, when the machine is waiting, I want to invite you to think first, right? And to think together with real people who care about you. And with that, I want to say thank you. And please connect with me on LinkedIn. And if you think the book could be useful, this is the QR code for the book. All right. So I will pause here and get any thoughts or questions.
Wow, this is beautiful, Wendy. This is insightful. I mean, I like the sharing of the presentation, the engagement from the polls. But if there's anyone else in this meeting who have a question, please feel free to raise your hand. You can also unmute or type on the chats. Okay. I'm seeing the engagement, the love from the chats. Thank you so much. Such an insightful session.
All right. And I see many of you said driver, driver, driver. All right.
Yes.
Hello, I have a question.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, my name is Monde. Good afternoon to everyone. Very insightful indeed. AI is very, very prominent in the workspace currently. As we speak, I'm also using it. So I just wanted to emphasize to people that AI will not replace anyone's job. It's going to replace the people who don't know how to use it effectively. And with anything in life, if it's garbage
Bye,
in, garbage
guys.
out. So yes, I think that's the most important thing. You need to be specific, you need to be precise with what you prompt, how you use it for, and don't give up on it easily, because if you just prompt something and you feel like, oh, this is not making sense, you need to continuously talk to it and refine it and more detailed. And the best part about it, the more you use it, the better you become at it, and the better the relationship you have with it, because it even starts picking up your behavior and just your tone and how you use it. So I just wanted to emphasize that, and thank you so much for the presentation.
Thank you. Thank you. And if you feel like the output is not giving what you want, then there are a few reasons. One of it is what are you feeding it with? Because your input is very key in creating the output. So I feed it with my own information instead of it just drawing from the internet, right? That becomes very generic. I feed it with my articles, my book, my research, and therefore it draws on my knowledge to come up with the output. So I think you could also be collecting good output resources and giving it to feeding it to AI into like into the files like in Claude you have projects. In GPT you have custom GPT which you can feed the relevant resources in, right? So that's one way of getting quality outputs. The other way is to break it down into steps. If it's a piece of complex work, like to yeah I don't know like the what would be some examples, but if it's like to come up with a proposal in your job for your boss, right? Then you break it down into steps and make sure that each step is built on a correct step, on a correct prior step. That way, step by step, you get to the output that you want.
Lovely. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thank you, Wendy. Thank you so much. I mean, I
Thank
don't
you.
think you had time to look, but we had over 962 participants or devices, which means well over 1,000. So I hope that's an audience, the number that now you know you've been speaking to. And also, I wanted to just share with everybody, like 5 people, why do you want the book? What will the book mean to you? Put it in the chat, and we will choose. Youth at Work will sponsor 5 books for this session. Make sure that you get them. But tell us, why do you need the book? What will you use it for? And you can also put your hand up and unmute. I saw there were business owners here who were quite interested and put some comments in the chat. So you're welcome to put your hand on. Why would you want a book?
Yeah, Cynthia.
Yeah, thank you so much, Doctor.
Yeah, go ahead. Somebody was speaking.
Yes, Tebogo.
Oh, hi. Thank you for the opportunity. And Dr. Wendy, nice presentation, and it's a game changer. So for me, I would want the book. From what you just explained to us, the brain method, how to use the book, I think it would also broaden me. I'm one person who uses AI, and I've gotten better with the prompts. So I would want to incorporate it in the business that I'm doing. the business is waste, but then it's waste management. But I want to incorporate AI into it, blockchain, in order for us to be able to track and trace the waste that we use. And I feel me understanding the deeper and the method just explained to us, the brain method, would help me to know more and how to properly implement it and integrate it in my daily endeavors. So thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. Yes, Ebenezer.
Hello.
Thank you very much, Janelle. Uh, Dr. Wendy, this was quite insightful. Thank you very much. So I just wanted to share with the audience that on Zilato, we are giving out rewards this week for having attended this Think Tank Thursday session. So please don't forget to click on the link so that you can redeem your vouchers. Thank you.
Thanks, Ebs. Yes, Cynthia. Cynthia, you can unmute.
Thank you so much. Sorry, my network. Okay, if I get the book, I'll be able to free myself because I was having this fear that AI automatically will replace people, take our jobs, our creativity. The companies will just depend on it. But with today's sessions, I'm changed my mind now. It's no longer like, okay, AI is there, we can use it, and also we are needed because we are different from AI. Thank you.
Lovely,
Awesome.
thank you.
Cynthia. Yeah. Um, yeah, Erica, we should also see the outputs from here. This is where people are saying what is one habit they will start this week. Yeah, for people to say, they talk about to learn from AI, to learn how to solve the problems without the assistance of AI. Wow. Use AI less and start thinking for myself.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. I mean, what I really love and appreciate is the willingness to learn and the willingness to learn from experts like Wendy, take that information and inculcate it into your daily lives. So thank you, everybody, for taking it on, for attending, for being willing to learn, and to keep using things differently. And I think the biggest message, Wendy, is not to be scared of it and to use it in a way that co-creates and really emphasizes the human value. So it came through very strongly that we as humans definitely need to be in the driver's seat, and to remain in the driver's seat, we need to prompt it, we need to use it, we need to give our own input a lot more and guide it right from the start. So you've given us valuable tools, you've given us lots to think about. We will go through the chat, we will see all the answers, we will select from there for the book. And also maybe you can pull up the QR code again for those who want to buy the book anyway and go onto Amazon. Wendy, if you've got that again, because I think there were many who didn't get it. Or we can put it in the groups.
Yeah, I put it into the chat, the link itself for you to get the book. This is the link. You can click on the link if you like to purchase the book. And I would also love for you to connect with me on LinkedIn. Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, there's the invitation to connect with Dr. Wendy directly on LinkedIn. I mean, most of you are on LinkedIn, if not everybody. So follow her, look at what the things that she is posting, and know that it's exciting that we have got international guest speakers who share international best practice. So very, very exciting. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Erica, would it be okay to invite everybody to turn on their cameras to take a photo? I would just love to see everybody. I mean, honestly, it's a bit novel for me because I haven't presented to a South African community before.
Please open your cameras.
Okay, everybody, cameras on.
Spotlight off me so that I'm amongst everybody.
Okay, put it onto gallery view. Let's have all the cameras on. Thank you.
Yeah,
there we go, Wendy. And now lots of reactions. Let's send her the reactions for her picture, her LinkedIn, her everything. Put it up there. There we go.
Yeah, everybody is here. Awesome.